Yes, people, how's it going? Hope you're all well. Welcome back to the show. I have had an amazing holiday. Thank you for asking in the chat. Absolutely amazing. If no one has been to Sri Lanka, if no one has been to the Maldives, make sure you get over there. It is an unbelievable place to be. Fantastic holiday with the family. Nice and tanned now. Big up to D, big up to Lawless. Thank you so much for all of you guys for jumping on and sorting the channel out for the last couple of weeks. I did watch the shows. They were, as ever, entertaining and great fun. So big up Lawless for smashing that. Unfortunately, he's been called in today and he can't do. He's absolutely gutted. He said he literally cannot get on to the show tonight. He's been pulled into West Ham Fan TV and he can't get out of it. So, unfortunately, he's not going to get the roasting that I was going to give him. Tobes will be with us. Errol will be with us. Pete's going to try and jump on. Unfortunately, Lewis has had an emergency, so he won't be about tonight. So, it's me and Dan to start with. So, let's talk a little bit about this title race at the moment, Dan, because, listen, bro, I can't lie. I think the way Man United are playing and their form, it would be foolish to say that they're not in a title race. Whether you're going to win the league or not is a completely different matter. But you're 5 points off the top. Okay, if we win our game in hand, it's 8 points. But you can't sit there and tell me that Manchester United don't look like a completely different Manchester United of the last couple of years. I think Ten Hag deserves an awful amount of credit. I think what he's done with the players in this team has definitely been superb in terms of how he dealt with Ronaldo, what he's done with Harry Maguire's form, what he's done with Luke Shaw's form, how he's got Marcus Rashford absolutely firing. And to be fair, I don't think he had a terrible January window with the likes of Weghorst and obviously Sabitzer coming in, although I thought should have got sent off at the weekend. I thought it was unbelievably good job he's done so far. And to be fair, Dan, he's not even had a year in the job, and it's looking very good for Manchester United, isn't it? So where do you stand on Manchester United are in a title race? Like, does that sort of wind you up when people say you are, or does it wind you up when people say that you aren't?
I feel like Pete a little bit here. I'm not trying to bash, bless him. But Pete has said, for a long time when Newcastle were up at second and third, well, start of the season, we were just happy if we were in, I think he said between 8th and 6th, whatever. But I'm just happy that the fact that we are in the conversation. It's weird, actually, because I think United over the past couple of weeks have quietly gone about their business, cutting down the deficit. A lot of people have been focusing on City and Arsenal, mainly because you've played each other a couple of times. A lot's been sort of looked at with Arsenal losing to Everton. So we've kind of gone under the radar. We've done our job quietly, and I mean, look, we're about to get into. In fact, we don't play in the Premier League till we play Liverpool now. So we're third in the table going into March. If you'd have offered me that at the start of the season after we lost 4-0 to Brentford, I'd have ripped your hand off and said, finish the season now. So it's been brilliant, mate. Ten Hag, I was talking to you off air about it. He's just something else. Everything that man has done is far beyond what any United fan could have dreamt of him doing in such a short time. For us to still be involved in all cup competitions, the Carabao Cup on Sunday, the FA Cup, the Europa League, which against Barcelona, unbelievable to go to the Camp Nou and not just go toe to toe with them, but give them a scare. I think in so many senses. So yeah, I think we're being very spoilt at the moment, United fans, and it's been a long time since we can say we've had that. So long may it continue, but it's just it's unreal.
Yeah, I look at what Ten Hag's done in a short period of time, and people will say, well, he's had money. To be fair, all of the top 6 have had money. You might not be able to include Tottenham in that, but to be fair, they have spent a lot of money, in my opinion, still. I think that when you look at what Arsenal have spent in the last 4 seasons in Mikel Arteta's reign, it's been close to $500 million, or getting closer to that. I think it's been about 380 million or something mad like that. So it isn't just Manchester United that have spent a lot of money. I get it. I understand you put people on ridiculous wages. I understand that, right? But I look at what Manchester United are doing, and I think fair play to you. I put you in a title race. I didn't put you in a title race a few weeks ago, but I do now, because I just don't really think I can sit there confidently and say Manchester United, I don't see it happening, because it could, it really could. Pete, how you doing, bruv?
Evening, guys. Hope you're well.
Here he is.
I thought you might have been skulking out of this one, bruv. But you're here, which is great to see, bruv. And
when do I ever? Even when it was just me and Dan Lawless the other week, it was me still repping. It's just my half.
Mate.
It's my half term. my half term, so it's the only week I get to properly spend with the family and kids. So,
Bless you, man. I'm not going to keep you for long because I know you're not about for long, and I know you got to see some family, and I appreciate that, bruv. So I always appreciate your time coming on here. Seeing as I've got you both on, we might as well talk about this build up to the weekend, mind we? This is going to be a great game. I can't lie. I'm actually being like 100 for this one. I'm looking forward to it. I think both sides have had a very good season. I think we've just been speaking about whether Manchester United on form are probably one of the best in the league at the moment. I know Newcastle. I saw someone the other day say that Newcastle have capitulated. I was like, wow, if that's Newcastle capitulating
really,
all day long. I don't think you have. I think you're still there or thereabouts. I don't see Newcastle dropping off ridiculously. Still think you've got a quality side. I think this is going to be a cracker, man. Pete, let's come to you, man. What's your thoughts? You've been building up on your channel on Loaded Mag about this one, so hit me, man. Mike is yours, bruv.
Yeah, I'm excited. Excited for Sunday. First final in 24 years. Why wouldn't you be excited about it? And I think the boys and Eddie Howe are going to put it all on the line to try and bring the trophy home. Whether we do or not is another conversation. I'm sure Dan will have his opinion on that from a Man United perspective. But hey, I'm absolutely buzzing. I ain't even got a ticket. It was so hard to get a ticket. I've not even got a ticket, but I'm still down. I'll still be in Wembley on Sunday. I'll still be there, supporting the boys from afar. But can't wait. Cannot wait.
Let's talk quickly about Newcastle and coming back to Man United, because I do want to mention it. I know you've dropped off and people are saying that it's Newcastle aren't going to get top four now. It's crazy, isn't it, football? You were guaranteed it 2 weeks ago, and now you're not going to get it. It's mad. I think Newcastle are fine. I'm really looking forward to this game. But Pete, what do you put down to your drop off, if it is a drop off? Has there been anything in particular? Has it just been a few off games, or is it just this is Newcastle this season and we expected this, mate?
There's a mixture of a number of things, if I'm honest. I think partly the focus on getting to the final has been so big for Newcastle that we've almost prioritized it. And it sounds really weird as saying that, but the players, the manager, the fans have been so desperate to get to a final, and this has been a genuine chance of us making it, that I think we've just given everything to it. So I think that's part of the reason. The other reason is the lack of squad depth. We haven't got that. When you're having to bring, no disrespect to him, he's been a great servant to the club. When you're having to bring the likes of Matt Ritchie on to play in games, tells you everything you need to know. We are not there in terms of squad depth to be able to hang with you boys that can bring on top quality players off the bench on a regular basis. So there's a mixture of that, and there's also a mixture of it's our time to have a dip. This is our first dip of the season. And if you'd have asked me in August, and I keep saying it, if you were going to say to me our first dip was going to be end of January, February time, I'd have snapped your hand off and gone, yeah, I'll take that all day. Every team has a dip. I've talked about it on our channel. Man United, you had yours at the beginning of the season. You guys were like on the floor at one point, and look where you are now. And rightly so. You guys are playing some great football, and Rashford's tearing it up right now. Arsenal have been seen to have a little bit of a dip recently. They seem to have come out of that, or certainly fighting back with that win at the weekend. Every team has their dip, and this is ours. Up until Saturday, we were saying if this is our dip, having five draws out of 6, then we'll take it. But I do believe genuinely that regardless of what happens in the final, I think you'll see Newcastle get back to where we were, because we'll be back to one game a week. We'll be back to having players, all the main players back fit and ready to choose from, whether it's injury, suspension, whatever. And I think we'll go again. I really do. I'm not saying we're going to get Champions League football. We're definitely in the race. For those people that think just because we've had one defeat recently and a few draws that we're out of the race, nah. We're still in the race, and we'd still love Champions League football. But I see us turning it around soon.
Fair play to you, man. Errol, welcome, bruv. How you doing, Errol?
Here he is.
I've had better days, lads. I'm not
We're going to come to it, man.
Errol woke up this morning feeling fine.
Fucking hell, yeah. It's been a fucking tough 24 hours. Like, I'm not even, there's no two ways to put it. But I can only jump on for about half an hour best part of 40 minutes. I've got boxing training tonight at 8. So, Lisa, thank you. Someone in the chat already got a little bit of sympathy for me. I'm still here, still posted. So let's get into it.
Fair play to you, brother. Fair play to you, brother. I'll come to you in a minute, Errol. But Dan, Newcastle, Man United. I know Man United are on form, but this ain't going to be an easy game at the weekend for you guys. So how do you see this one going, and how important is it that Man United win a trophy this season?
Me and Pete had this last week. There's something in my head and someone's mentioned it in the chat. Honestly, Karius, I can just see it now. It's written in the fucking stars, in it, that he's going to come back. He's going to have redemption. You watch him. He'll save it, right? So he'll either save a penalty in the game, or if it goes to penalty shootouts, he'll be the decisive factor. I was absolutely fine with Nick Pope in goal. I really was. And then when he got sent off, and I thought, well, Dubravka played for us in the competition, so he's not playing. And I just registered Karius, and I thought, oh, for fuck's sake. It's written in the stars. You know, I really hope that we're professional and we just do the job, and we get the result. I've got to be honest with you, and what Pete alluded to there, I kind of feel like squad depth is something that is is coming back to sort of haunt Pete's got boys a little bit at the moment. I mean, I don't know what it is today, Pete. Ryan Fraser, he's been dumped to the 23s. What's that for?
That's not for injuries, mate. That's because he's just a little grumpy old git. That's basically what it is. Is that Ryan Fraser, obviously, he and Eddie Howe, like, there was a question mark when Eddie Howe first took the job. Would he be happy because of the way in which he left Bournemouth? Because he obviously stopped playing for them in COVID and they ended up getting relegated. But that
remember that.
Yeah, but that wasn't an issue, and he played a lot last season. But obviously, the problem with Ryan Fraser is a little bit like Callum Wilson. His hamstrings are made of glass. So whenever he got a run of games, he'd pull up a hamstring and be out 3 or 4 weeks, and then someone else would be outperforming him. So it's got to the point where he's no longer a regular in the team.
Right.
Obviously, Anisette Maximin's back now. We've got Miggy playing really well, and he was fighting for me with Miggy on that right hand side. But there's no even competition there now. So he's on the bench and he's moaning and groaning, blah blah blah. And now I think he wants to leave. The club are willing to let him go. He's going to go in the summer. I'm surprised he didn't go in January.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think he was offered Hull, like Darlow, and I think I'm assuming he's turned it down because he sees himself as a Premier League player. So Eddie Howe clearly doesn't want anything to get in the way, not just of the cup final, but anything. So he chucked him in the under-21s, and rightly so.
I tell you what I was surprised at in the game against Liverpool. I mean, for me personally, this isn't a dig at both teams here. I thought down to 10 men. Look at Errol smiling. Down to 10 men. I thought you guys were in control most of the second half. I thought, bloody hell, you'd have thought that it was Liverpool down to 10 men. But for me, it was you guys starting to rest players for the final. You took off Almiron. It was the argument between Joe Linton and Eddie Howe. I loved that. Joe Linton's like, no, I'm staying on. And you saw Eddie Howe say, I'm the boss. You come off, sort of thing. And I mean, how did you guys react as Newcastle fans? Did you watch that and say, well, we're still fighting here? Could they not have stayed on and a goal changes everything, or were you like, right, that's absolutely fine, 2-0, we're done, let's concentrate on the final?
If you ask any Newcastle United fan, and this is just genuine and honest opinions, since we beat Southampton in the second leg, like our thoughts have been purely the final. Like there were people in the build up to the Liverpool game, even though we didn't have Bruno Guimaraes in the team, that wanted Joe Linton dropped, not because he's playing bad, because he's been our best player, but just so he was fit for the final. And obviously he took the shot from distance, and it wasn't his hamstring, he was holding his arse cheek pretty much. And at that point, Eddie Howe's just gone, Richie, get ready. Get him on. He doesn't want to take a risk because, look, it's not just for the fans, it's not just for the club. Eddie Howe wants this more than anybody. This puts Eddie Howe on a different stratosphere is what we consider him an English manager. We love him. and like he's amazing to us because of what he's done at the club. But actually, from a national point of view, you see Eddie Howe in a different light if he's an English manager lifting the Carabao Cup on Sunday.
As long as it's not the FA Cup he's lifting, because that is not an important enough trophy, Pete, is it? So if it was an FA Cup final, Pete would not be going. He wouldn't be going to Wembley.
I'm not saying it's not. You're putting words into my mouth there. I'm not saying it's not an important trophy. What I'm saying is the competition's not what it used to be. And I've explained my point on this channel already. And it's not. And Dan, you agreed with me. Potts, you agree with me as well. It's not what it used to be. And I'll stand by that.
David Brent. Don't care. Next.
It's all about the Carabao Cup, boys.
You guys Carabao
Cup. Yeah, man. Pete, I got to ask you though before I come to Errol, because I want to touch on Liverpool Newcastle quickly, and then I definitely want to touch on Liverpool last night because that was unreal. But what the hell was Nick Pope even thinking? Like, I've seen some bad goalkeeper errors, but like that one. Like, fair play to Liverpool, by the way, because Darwin Núñez is a player that I've actually stuck up for and think he's a good player, and everyone else thinks he's dog turd. I thought that was a good goal. It wasn't a handball. I thought the Salah ball was outstanding, and I thought they deserved to be winning the game. But then when Nick Pope comes out and does that, I'm like, what actually was he thinking? Now, have you ever seen anything like that, Pete? Like,
never seen anything like that, and it was definitely out of character, I have to be honest. But we were trying to play a high line because we trust Nick Pope. And look, if you've watched any of our games this season, he is a fantastic sweeper. He sweeps everything, and so we were playing because we knew we were confident in him sweeping the board, and it was just a comedy of errors that accumulated to him getting sent off. There's been some Newcastle fans, small, very, very small section, like, oh, it's really harsh. It shouldn't have been a red. It was a red card all day long. When you get the ball and you put it back into your chest, that is a red card. There is no doubt about it.
Loopholes now. There's a loophole. No, we've seen it. There's a loophole. You could probably bollocks. It's red.
It's a red card, and people. And to be fair, we looked at it on our review show and said, could Longstaff have got back? But there's no way. Salah's putting it into an empty net. It's 3-0. Now, if you go back and you say to Nick Pope, do you let Salah score and make it 3-0? I think he'd have took that all day long because, let's face it, and you guys might argue this, but Pope has probably been the best goalkeeper in the Premier League this season. With his clean sheets, with some of the big saves he's made, he's been recognised massively. And to have him missing is big. But, unfortunately, he's got no one to blame but himself because it was a comedy of errors. Some people have said, why didn't he kick the ball? But he's almost.
It was a joke. I've never seen anything like it, man.
That's the craziest thing I've seen a goalkeeper do. I think that might be the craziest thing I've seen a goalkeeper do in my life.
It's his momentum. His momentum's taken him to a point where he can't kick the ball, and then he's misjudged it to a point where he can't head the ball. So he's just like let it smack him in the face, and then he's just gone, no, you're not scoring, Salah, and just kind of clawed it back. But
what a week it's been for goalkeepers, eh? What a week.
But then, yeah, and a lot of people hammering Nick Pope for it. But as we know, an equally or even more so tremendous goalkeeper is capable of making very, very similar mistakes. Now, Potts, I'll let you carry that forward into your next conversation.
That's a nice segue. That is a nice segue. Before I do that, though, let's get a prediction for the Carabao Cup final from both of you, Dan and Pete. Dan, you go first, man.
3-1 Man United.
Marcus Rashford, couple of goals, do you reckon, again?
Yeah, Weghorst. Weghorst on the spin.
You Man United fans, I tell you, I've seen a lot of love for this Weghorst guy, man. I never saw his love.
I'm looking forward to the race between Weghorst and Dan Burn on the. That's going to be a race.
Weghorst has got Botman to worry about first and foremost. Don't worry about that.
I don't know. Like I liked Weghorst at Wolfsburg and started to look at him. I looked at it, and then I was at Burnley, and I thought maybe that's a good signing for Burnley. He's got like one goal, and I was like, okay, this guy maybe ain't as great as what I thought he might have been. And then when I see now these Man United fans absolutely lauding this guy, I don't really understand where that's come from. Has he been that amazing? Like,
no, he hasn't, Potts. He hasn't. No, he hasn't. He's fucking running. He's running around like a dog, and because he does a couple decent layoffs. Oh my gosh, he's doing such a good job in the 10. We'll take Weghorst out of the team. You don't see the same Man United. I'm like, what? What am I hearing here? What am I hearing here? Like, come on, be for real, man. Be fucking for real. And I don't even hate Weghorst, but come on.
No doubt we wait, mate. No doubt we wait. He is a fucking awesome.
No doubt we will.
I love him. Honestly,
This is serious.
As Diego Forlan when he was at United.
Oh, don't even remind yourself about that guy.
Absolutely tried his hardest, but I
don't know, man. Like, I don't hate on Weghorst, but I don't get the hype personally. But it's just me.
Neither do I.
Because Martial can't last a game. Sancho's just coming back, so he's doing a job, isn't he? At the end of the day,
you bought the thing is where I do sympathize with Weghorst is he wasn't bought in to play week in, week out. He was bought in to be an option when Martial gets injured. But unfortunately, Martial is a crock, which meant that Weghorst is actually going to play quite a lot of football, right? But I find it hilarious that a guy who was brought in to be a striker is so crap as a striker that the manager is like, you cannot play this job for us, but I don't have any players, so I'm going to find a way to make you a little bit useful. So now I've seen him play 10. I've seen him play 8. Now when he's found a way to make him useful, it's turned into, oh my God, Weghorst is doing such a good job. I remember Saeed was creaming his pants saying, oh, he was fantastic against Leeds. The 2-0, you remember the 2-0 win against Leeds? He was fantastic against Leeds. Hang on a second. Leeds had you on the ropes for like 70% of that game, and Weghorst lays off a pass to Garnacho, who runs like 20 yards into the box, buries Meslier, and people are telling me what an assist from Weghorst. What? Like, what is going on here? Genuinely, what is going on here?
I can honestly say, right, I was alive when Weghorst went to Camp Nou and got out-jumped by 4'5" Gavi. Oh my God. But do you know what, Toves? As much as I wanted to get angry about it, cool that you love, he's a knob, but you love, because I watched him and I was like, oh, but it's Vout. We fucking love him, don't we? It's Vout. Yeah, he's fine. He has, I get what you're saying, and he does have that almost gimmicky side of him, player-wise. You know, it's kind of, people just love his effort, but he's not going to be there in the summer. You
need to move on from Weghorst,
mate. Yeah, I get it, but this is what I said earlier on, right, in the season. United are where they are without a recognised striker. We've seen whatever Ten Hag's doing with Weghorst, whatever he's doing with Shaw at left centre back, it's fucking working. It's working. You know what I mean?
You know what it is though? Do you know what it is though, Dan? I think it's more a testament to how good a job Ten Hag is doing at this point in time.
Yeah,
granted, of course, it's not like he's been given a terrible squad. He was given 250. He wasn't given a good squad by any means, but he was also given 250 million, right? So he was given enough money to buy some good players into the side. But I think what he's doing, the whole Weghorst hype, is testament to how good a job Ten Hag is doing. When you look at the injuries as well, using Bruno Fernandes out wide instead of the central areas. Casemiro suspended, Eriksen suspended. No, Eriksen injured. Martial injured. He had Lisandro missing a couple of games back as well. Varane's been up in and out sometimes with injury as well, and it seems as if he's not letting injuries curtail Man United season. And the thing is, it's quite a precarious situation, right? Because I feel like Man United have depth, but they don't really have like strength in depth outside of like maybe like one or two positions, right? So it's always walking a fine line in terms of key players and the drop off between the key starters and the players that come in. But despite what has been thrown at him, he's actually found a way to make sure that Man United keep ticking. Of course, Rashford's goals help massively, but we can also look at Man United's defensive record. We can also look at Man United's ability to grind out results as well. So for me, the whole Weghorst hype, I'm not even wasting 2 minutes on Weghorst because I'm not really seeing what he's doing on the football pitch. But I'm giving more credit to the fact that Ten Hag has got I'm not going to call him a scrub because I don't actually dislike Weghorst. I liked him at Burnley, even though he didn't score. Ten Hag has got a poor footballer playing 10, and Man United are actually winning games. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's mad. It is mad, but it's working for Ten Hag and it's working for Man United. I really want Newcastle to win, man. I really do. But Pete,
So
what
do
are you
I.
saying?
So do I.
I'm going to hold off a score prediction, but I'm going to say, but I'm going to. The reason being is because I've said I'll give my score prediction at the end of the week. But what I'm going to tell you is that we're going to win. That's what I'm going to tell you.
I love that, man. Love that, and I want to see Newcastle win, man. I really do. I just don't want Man United to start getting too. They're already getting cocky enough, man. Some of these fans, I'm seeing Man United fans. We're the only team in 4 competitions.
Oh,
Yeah,
mate,
man.
I read someone say United are in for the quadruple, and it's like it's not even the proper quadruple. We're not in the Champions League, so that can just.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. That's very honest.
Hopefully, you boys on Thursday are extra time penalties.
Extra tired. Yeah.
Players against Barca, we've got it in the bag, mate.
Yeah, man. Let's see what happens, man. Could be it could be a horrendous week for you, Dan, but it could be a great one. So it's one of those, isn't it? Let's move. I can't wait for this part. I've been looking forward to this part all night, Errol. Bruv, I'm gonna get everyone involved on this because you are absolutely. I mean, I watched you last night, bruv, and I can't lie. Wow. Just wow. I've got a Liverpool friend of mine. He said to me, "You watching this crazy game?" And I said, "Actually, I'm not." I said, "I've missed the first half. I'm going to watch the second half now." He's like, "Liverpool are looking so good. Like, it's looking so much better." I was like, "Oh, brilliant." So I watched the second half and I just see you get absolutely roasted, annihilated by players like 37-year-old Modric, Benzema in his late 30s. They're absolutely destroying you. And I was like, what is happening here? Now, fair play to Liverpool in their midfield, right? Because they've been shocking of late. And you bought, I can't say that guy's name, Bajcetic. Yeah. And I thought, do you know what? This guy, a little bit like Elliot, maybe he's a couple of years off, but actually it looks a bit different and it looks a bit better. But my God, that was not enough to save you. Fabinho is done, bruv. Like, he's dusted for me. He just looks done. And I know he wasn't shocking in parts last night, but wow, he was in others. At the back, it looks a nonsense. Joe Gomez, I've never really rated him as a centre-back, if I'm honest, but it looked dreadful last night. Bro, I looked at people going, I see Liverpool back in the top 4 race. I never really saw you out of the top 4 race. But when you put in performances like that, bro, it makes you look at Klopp and think, where are these answers coming from still then? Like, he does need to start taking some blame. He's getting a lot of protection from Liverpool fans, rightly so. He's been a legend there, right? But I'm looking at him now thinking, like, what you tried trying everything here. He's still not going right, bro. So
was you getting flashbacks of Wenger? Was you looking at him?
Yeah,
thinking,
I was, mate. I'm gonna tell you now. I watched Liverpool, and I said this about a few weeks ago when you played Brentford, and every set piece was a goal, basically. Yeah, I can't remember how long ago that was, and it reminded me of Mustafi, Kolasinac, David Luiz, Socrates. It reminded me of all those brothers, and you guys were literally getting crucified. This reminds me of Arsene. The Klopp is a little bit like Arsene Wenger. The stubbornness now is getting crazy. So I don't know what your thoughts are.
I said it last night. I was on the stream last night, boys, and I just said, look, like, this is like fucking, it's buying Arsenal. Like, the way that they just got our number, it is criminal at this point. Like, and I also said this one, like, we got Big Broad. You might have younger brothers or siblings or cousins that you rock up with, and you say, right, yeah, man, let's play FIFA. Take the pad. You give them a 2-goal lead just because you want them to entertain the game, knowing full well you're still going to smoke them 5-2 come full time and winner stays on. That was the settings that we was in last night, bro. And I'm not even going to lie. I can't. Like, you can watch it back. It's there. It's there in the archives now. It's part of the history. I'm there getting gassed, thinking, shit, 2-0. Like, I can't believe that, like, this Madrid team aren't ready for the smoke. But it was us. I lured myself into a false sense of security. Boys, it's embarrassing, boys. It's like, it's not even funny. Like, we're all the people. We're lifelong fans. Like, we've loved our club since we was kids. So that shit's not funny. Once you, like, I'm not a kid no more. I'm 30 years of age. Like, to be crying almost on fucking the internet is criminal. Like, it's heartbreaking, boys. I can't lie. Like, I can't sugarcoat it. And as Tobes would say, we need to call a spade a spade. We are done out here right now. Like, the level of how poor the quality is. I'm right. Like, one of the things, you didn't watch the first half, Pot, so let me kind of sum up the first half for you. We've come flying out the blocks. Nunez's goal within 5 minutes is the best goal we've scored all season. It was he stuck his chest out. It was the arrogance. It was like, do you know what? I rate you for it was what we couldn't do in 90 minutes against them in Paris in the final. So I was like, stand up, applaud that. That's what we need. That was the start we needed. It's frantic. It's like a basketball game. Now, if I'm being honest, I genuinely thought that kind of frantic pace would suit us. However, what I didn't kind of allow for was the fact that at no point did we put our foot on the ball. Like, they make a mistake for the second, gift Salah a goal, gift wrap it. Then their first goal, all right, we're not tight enough to him, but in a really small pocket of space, the way Vinicius has been able to maneuver his body and get that shot off, sometimes you've got to hold your hand up and say, that's what world-class talent can do. You can make a goal out of nothing. So you can be ultra critical of your defense, but you can also understand why in that moment you've not overcommitted. Then when we give them the second goal, as good as he's been, and he's a young lad, so I won't go in on him too much. As good as he's been, that might have just been a game too far for him. So what you're saying there about Klopp and a selection, the criminal thing is that we haven't got a able deputy outside of Thiago. That drop off is Thiago to Pazetic to play that third man midfield. That's criminal. He makes the mistake. Then Gomez plays a weak back pass and he could have just cleared it and took control of it. And then Alisson makes that mistake. So a 2-2. I'm thinking now, right, the next team that need to put the foot on the ball the most right now is Liverpool, right? I can deal with us getting in at half time 2-2. It's not ideal from the start we had, but let's do that. But let's get a foot on the ball and let's start just actually taking the sting out of it a little bit, and let's make Madrid have to think about what they're going to do. I said it last night, boys. You can't give the European world champions 3 goals gift wrapped and expect that their quality over the 90 minutes is not going to shine through. Dan, I know you're fucking loving this, mate, but it's true. Like, I'm not lying. At no point am I chatting shit. You can't give the best team on paper in the world.
Errol, they're world champions as well, mate. That's
what I said. European and world champions. Yeah, like the best in class. You can't give the best in class 3 goals and then not expect their quality. And when I say quality, Modric rolled back the years last night. Benzema I said, Benzema's had a bit of a quiet game. Next minute, man pops up with 2 goals. I wanted to just boom and done the dance. Like, I just wanted it over. At 4-2, I was ready to walk out the studio, get back in my car and drive home. I've been up from early this morning to go to work and I've still got to go to trade. Like, my 24 hours still hasn't stopped, and I'm still reliving these. It's like PTSD, bro. It's horrible, and I'll let you roast me now because we fucking.
The thing is, Errol, right? I'm real when I say this, right? You talk about being roasted. To be fair, you're not really one of these fans that comes out and starts giving it, so I'm not going to roast you too much. But what I will say, right, is I'm going to ask you a question. I'll ask this to everybody, right? Is this Liverpool side like done, dusted, needs to start from scratch again? Or are we honestly talking about a partner for Kenyatta in the summer, a holding midfielder and an 8, and then all of a sudden it starts to look a bit better? That's like a serious question.
I would rather do the surgery now. That's where after this season, I would rather do the whole surgery that's needed. Let's not paper over cracks. Let's not trial it with 1s and 2s and drip feed them in.
But Errol, you thought you were going to win the league. You told me Liverpool win the league this season.
I genuinely, bro, and this is one thing I'll ask you, and I'll say to any Liverpool fan that I speak to, no Liverpool fan can tell me with chest that they expected the season to go as drastically bad as it has. That is uncharacteristic of us. It's not been allotted for. So everybody's had the smile wiped off the face big time. You might have still be Liverpool fans online at FSG this, and I told FSG, and I told his midfielders. Yeah, you probably did, but you probably still felt we had enough to be competitive. You probably did. You probably thought we need a little bit more if we're going to push and extend the gap on our quality. But you probably felt we would still be in and around and competitive. There was no Liverpool fan online chatting, Liverpool are going to finish 8th and out of the European spots and they'll get knocked out in the last. No, you would have just been chatting shit. You'd have been doing it for clickbait. Nobody had that energy. Only when we've seen the wheels fall off and we've seen the levels deteriorate week in, week out in various competitions, have people reassessed it and thought, woi, there's bigger problems here at the Liverpool helm. And ultimately, for me, I'm glad. Man saying Hussam said that he was. I've sat in spaces with Hussam all season. He didn't say we would be this bad this season. He never once said that. My thing is, I know that because it's glaring for everyone to see now, we may as well do the surgery now, in my opinion. We may as well just get on with it, do what's required, do what's needed, bite the bullet, and treat next season as an opportunity to start the building block process again. New objectives, new players, fresh ideas. I've said it for a while, and I might have said it to I've said outside in a group chat to one of the lads. What's needed from a Klopp perspective now is he needs less yes men. He needs new men behind the scenes that are going to start to challenge his ideas, start to make him think twice about some of the things that he's been so complacent with this season. That's what he needs to refresh his system. Dan, you said it the other week about Sir Al, the years that he got different people in to be his backroom staff to come in and help you kick on. We need something like that from Klopp, and the team need new players so they can integrate a new style and get a new energy and new quality amongst them. And from the top, we need a cash injection to make all of that knitted in together. New sporting director. There's a lot of surgery that needs to happen, and we all say it every summer. That 8-9 weeks is it flies over. So we need to, with the planning and all the work needs to already be going on in the background now. And I can't confidently say that it started. So everyone's just thinking at the minute, FSG are just going to throw the bank at Jude and he's just going to rock up. If I was Jude, mate, I'd be fucking off down the road to fucking Man City or Man U. I'm not arsed. I would.
Listen, man, it's like real talk. I don't think Liverpool need to completely start again from scratch. I honestly believe, like, Tobes, let me come to you with this one, right? Let's just give this scenario. I'm just going to pick 3 players, whether you think they're realistic or not, to come. Evan and Ndika on a free transfer goes to Liverpool to partner Kenyatte. Ibrahim Sangare comes and holds in midfield, and Jude Bellingham does come to Liverpool. Is that actually looking at not a bad side already now, with Luis Diaz back, Jota back, Salah, Nunez, Firmino? Like, do you know what I'm saying? I don't know that they need to start completely again, but maybe I'm wrong.
Nah, I think they definitely they need surgery, man. They need wholesale surgery. But I liken Liverpool a bit to Spurs, where like you can clearly see that there is damage, right? But there's still a lot to work with. Like Liverpool still have a core that they can work with to sort of build the next iteration of Liverpool. You have Diaz, you have Jota, you have Konate, right? You have Bajcetic, you have Nunez, you have Gakpo, you still have Alisson, right? You have old guards like Van Dijk, who looks like he's fallen off a little bit, but that can still help usher in the new gen, right? But fundamentally, there are regulars in the team that can no longer be regulars. They need...
Nice one, Pete. I know you got to go, bro.
They need, like you said, DM, Fabinho, it's looking like he can't even hang as a squaddy now. They need a new midfield entirely altogether.
That's been the biggest drop off of every player this season. Fabinho, doesn't matter what team you're playing for, he's been the biggest drop off of any player.
So he's been terrible.
It's not even just him as well. So like they need a completely new starting midfield, in my opinion. They need another centre back now. It didn't look like it last season, because last season you thought, hang on a second, they signed Konate, Matip still playing at a good level, Van Dijk returning back to a good level, Joe Gomez is 4th choice, but now Matip, his level has just dropped completely. He can't really play the way he was playing before. Van Dijk's level is dropping, right? Joe Gomez is having to play more games, and Joe Gomez is looking like a fish out of water now. So now a position
he's a fucking fraud, like that.
So he has to.
He has a 10. He has a 10 or a fucking 2. There's no, like, I like Nat Phillips. You know why I like Nat Phillips? Because he keeps it simple. He's not fancy. He's not fucking got no pace. He's not even a fucking good ball playing centre half. But when it comes to the fundamentals of defending, man's got it on locks. You don't see a man like Nat Phillips, a 5th choice centre back, dropping a clanger. He has a solid 6 or a 7, and there's his parameters, and I can live with that. Because if you're alongside Virgil van Dijk, you can coast on a 6 or a 7. But Joe Gomez is either going to have 5 games a season where he's a 10 out of 10 and he looks like a world beater, and 25 games a season where he looks like a 4 out of 10. And that drop-off in standard is too stark. You can't do that. If you want to be in the Premier, you just can't do it. You get found out, mate.
Yeah, I think they do need. I think they definitely need wholesale changes, but wholesale changes just simply doesn't mean that you have to bin the whole team. Thierry Henry was on CBS and he made a great point about Barcelona when he joined there. He said when he joined at Barcelona, on paper, the team that he had on paper was better than the team that won the Champions League the following season, but it didn't work. Why? Because those players were faded. They were at the end. They were at the end of their era. Now Liverpool need to basically buy in some higher caliber players that can play the way Jurgen Klopp wants to play and can also work with some of the newer players that they've added into their team, because they have got some potential to work with. They've invested in the likes of Carvalho, they've invested in the likes of Elliott, but it's too early for these guys. It's too early to depend on these guys. Even Bajcetic, he's come in and he's looked like a breath of fresh air, but it's too early for him. He has no business. Bajcetic,
Real Madrid, none.
he has no business starting against a midfield with Luka Modric. Like it shouldn't. That should never happen for a club like Liverpool stature. That should never happen under any circumstances. And I'm not even trying to take anything away from Bajcetic, because he does.
You can't, can you?
He there's no business. He has no business starting a game with that magnitude. So it tells you that yes, they still have players that they can work with, but they also have players that they need to cut ties with now. Because if they don't cut ties with those players, they're just going to keep sinking.
Facts.
Fair play, man. Fair play.
I
Dan,
can't even argue it, lad.
nah, man, it's fair. I feel it. I feel it, Errol. I feel it, man. And trust that. I've been there not long ago where you literally feel like pulling your hair out, mate. I get it. Dan, obviously you're smiling. You're loving the Liverpool drop off. I get it. I get it.
Come on now. We're professionals. We're professionals, Errol. And now I know you're a boxer. I ain't saying shit. Anyway, look, I said to Potts as the show, just before the show started, and we see this so much in the Premier League, it happens. It's eras, isn't it? And the era that you've had with Klopp, with the football you played, with the players that were playing, was sometimes impossible to play against. And I just feel like not era, that's the wrong word, cycles. I kind of feel like this team, this squad is at the end of its cycle, touching kind of on what Tobe said there about these older players dropping off and not being able to perform at the ability that they could do. The other thing is,
Bajcetic.
I'm not even going to try it.
Something like that.
When I look at him play this season, I was saying to Potts again, I feel like he's playing too much football. I feel like he could potentially be part of something that really he's got no business being part of. He's a player that should be coming on in games, getting his experience there. And as Tobe said again, he's going toe-to-toe with Camavinga, and Modric, and it's just, and Valverde, and he was all right last night, but he was, again, like we say every week, the best of a bad bunch. I just think it's been a crazy week for Liverpool.
The maddest thing is, though, like, lads, like, and I deeped it myself last night, like, what Klopp's done in this particular cycle, as Dan's saying, I think that, you're spot on when you say that. But when you really think about it, we had spent so many years in the wilderness out of Europe that it took us a while to really get that allure back of being able to be that club, going to that ground where it's going to be a difficult European night. And on the way to being able to build to that momentum, we've had to beat Man U, we've had to beat Dortmund, we've had to beat PSG, we've had to beat Barcelona, we've had to beat fucking, who else have we beat? We've dismantled Porto, we've done Bayern. All of these European teams that we've just axed season in, season out. And you're like, if you draw Liverpool out, you're in for a torrid time. All of that hard work hasn't happened overnight. That's happened over a collective 4 or 5 seasons. But in the space of 90 minutes, that air, that aura, that demeanour that we had established is poof, gone, dusted, like Thanos' snap, disappeared, no longer here. Because Real Madrid, big bro does, and all of a sudden, we're there, Everton. When Liverpool play Everton, or when, like, again...
City, we last game.
You know when you've just got your number of your arrival, you think you're meant to be in our league, and you're in our league technically because yet you're in the Champions League with us, but we're 14-time winners. You might have won it a couple yourselves, but we're 14-time winners. So when we come up against yous, it's the same way when we come up against Everton. We just brush them aside. No matter how much momentum Everton might have in that moment, that week, when it comes to Liverpool, there's that mental block of, we don't ever beat these. We're not good enough to beat these. Like, these have just got our number, and it's the exact same thing. And while we're stuck in that place, it's extra crippling, because what the Champions League has been for us this season, especially, has been a break from what's been a terrible league form.
Yeah, distraction.
We've been able to have a nice distraction and just go from one to the other. And right, saying you're at a Champions League game, we've got to navigate the group stages. We've got to get out of that. That's the objective. Well, that looks like it's going to expire in 2 weeks. That distraction's going to expire in 2 weeks, and then what? We'll have like 12, 13 games left of the season where it's the business end, and you've got to get the results on the board. And what that result those lads will do for them mentally, it's crippling, man. And I want to feel sorry for them because of how much they've gave us over the years, but ultimately, I'm very reluctant to feel sorry for them because they've allowed themselves to get themselves into this mess as a collective, and football's a cruel sport at times, and there's no room for passengers. Every man's got to be able to be stood up and be counted for, and at the moment, we're trying to carry too many players and trying to pass ourselves off as world class, and you can't do it. You just can't. I'm sorry.
I'm still sticking with what I said. I've been saying the last 10, 11 weeks. I think Klopp knows it this season. He gets sacked. Especially knowing that season.
Your sound.
Your audio's going funny, Dan. But yeah, I think I don't think Klopp will go. I don't think he will. I think that. Yeah, that's better, man.
Yeah, no, I think he goes the end of the season. I think he goes.
I hope no. That would round off a fully poor season. And I don't think he's got that in him. I don't think he's got. I have one poor season with this amazing club that I've built up, and then I just get off. I don't not after signing. If he didn't sign a deal last year, maybe there's an argument, but he's committed for a reason. And as long as when he talks to the board at the end of the season, they then deliver what is required, I don't see why he wouldn't say, right, well, let me make it good. I owe it to the fans. I owe it to the fan base. I owe it to me players.
Do you think the board can, though? Do you think the board
again, I'm not the guy to ask him that. I'm just a fan, lad. And it'll be the same. Every fan will have an opinion, but that opinion doesn't hold any weight because you don't know any insiders. You don't know what the club's
that's fair, man.
Do. So from my perspective, I could just say, yeah, because I want that to happen, but I've got no concrete evidence to suggest that will happen either way, either side of the argument. But gents, you would love to talk about this and fucking dig me out.
No, man, go on. You get off. I know you got to go boxing, bro.
Jump onto this evening. So take care, gents.
See you next week, Errol.
And I'll see you next week for a little bit longer chat.
Peace, bro. Peace, bro. Let's finish this off we will finish it off just with the title race quick, but I want to go to Spurs West Ham just very quickly with Toby. Lawrence ain't here. Oh man, he's ducked out and he's scared. He's course, yeah. He's gone to West Ham Fan TV. They're doing some filming or something. He did text me and say he wanted to try and jump on, but he didn't think he was going to be able to. He's got away with it, Tobes. I was hoping you were going to roast him, man, because he deserves it. He's so bloody hell. The Lawless, I love him, but the guy is deluded. I see him on London's Club Carnage with me, you and him, Matisse, and I was just like, this guy is absolutely shameless. Trying to tell me that Soufal is better than Tomiyasu, telling me that Aguerd's going to be as good as Saliba. And anytime you actually question something, he just throws one of the Arsenal players in the mix. I don't know how he can do that this season. It's embarrassing. They look like they're going down. It's like crazy. I don't think they will, but they look like they're going down the way they're playing. I thought they were shocking, man. But I'm going to throw this one to you about Spurs. I've stuck by it. I said Tottenham would get top 4, and I stuck by it when you were going through your shambles. I still think that you will. I changed Liverpool and Man United for my original top 4. On the very first kick of the ball, I said it would be Arsenal, Man City, Spurs, and Liverpool to get top 4. I'm staying with it. I just will change Manchester United now, who I think are clearly going to get in it ahead of Liverpool. But I will stick with Spurs. I think Spurs will get it. I think you score goals, and I think Conte will do when he does come back. Bless him, and I hope he is okay, by the way, even from me as an Arsenal fan saying that. That I think you'll be okay. How do you feel as a Spurs fan at the moment from a few weeks ago, bruv?
Still not confident. I can't lie to you. I thought it was a really, really poor first half. If I'm totally honest, against West Ham, I wasn't expecting anything other than a win for Spurs. I knew we had the capacity to somehow screw up against West Ham because we've thrown away leads against West Ham at home before, and we've dropped points that we shouldn't have dropped. But there was no way on earth I was accepting anything less than 3 points this game. Impossible. This is one of the worst West Ham sides I've seen, not in terms of player quality, but in terms of performances. Right? This is the worst West Ham side I've seen in the last 3-4 years, right? And they scored like 19 goals. They scored like 19 goals. They scored less goals than they have played games, right? And then when you add into the situation that Paqueta's out, Skamako's on the bench, Danny Ings on the bench. Yeah, Ben Rama didn't really start.
Cornet's
recovering from the injury. I'm
injured
seeing
still.
a 3-5-2 of Declan Rice, Souček, and Flynn Downs. I'm like, if Spurs don't win this game, then it's a downright shambles. Let's be real, it's a downright shambles. So for me, once I saw that lineup, I said, yes, a Spurs win. Like it can't be anything other than a Spurs win. And even then, it's like we did everything in our power to try and make it as even a game as possible in the first 20 minutes. Like we were so bad, so careless in possession, not really creating any chances, not really making the ball stick with our attacking players, just giving away dumb fouls all over the pitch. The only player who came out of any sort of credit in the first half was Romero, Emerson, and Ben Davies. The rest were nowhere near good enough, man. In terms of progressing the ball anyway. So yeah, second half, we do what we've done this season. We step it up. Second half Spurs as per, we step up the performance. We put a couple of chances away. And to be honest, we probably should have won that game by more than 2 goals. So yeah, it's a win, but I'm not going to get carried away with it. I get the significance. Spurs are in the top 4, and rightly so, because Newcastle dropped points to Liverpool, but there's still a long way to go, right? There's still a long way to go.
Do you think top 4 keeps Conte and Kane at Spurs?
No, I don't. I think Conte is leaving no matter what happens. Yeah, so now it's just the case. I used to think that maybe he could stay, but I feel like Conte is leaving no matter what happens. So what I'm hoping for is that he can at least leave with Spurs finishing in the Champions League spot and hopefully winning a trophy, right? So that's the dream, that's the hope. But yeah, I wasn't on the West Ham result. West Ham stink, man. They're just not a good side. They're just not a good side. I mean, you watch them play; they're just not a good side. So they were just like lambs to the slaughter, really.
Do you think they'll go down?
I don't think they'll go down. No, I think they got too much quality to go down, but they definitely have a good chance of going down. Like the thing is, I can see. I actually think there are 3 teams worse than West Ham in the league. I think Bournemouth are worse than West Ham. I think Leeds this season, despite having probably more exciting attacking players, are worse than West Ham. And I obviously think Southampton are worse than West Ham. But West Ham, if they're not careful, they can find themselves in big trouble, man, in serious trouble, because they struggle to win and they struggle to score goals, man.
Something I've not asked both of you, because Lawless is on here ranting and raving normally about it. This is a genuine question.
Yeah.
If Moyes goes, because I think he will, like he's going to get sacked at some stage. I mean, to be fair, they probably would have sacked him if they were going to already, but I'm surprised they haven't. But it looks like Rafa's definitely not got Leeds, and he's the one that is apparently being sniffed around as returning to West Ham.
Yeah.
Like, let's forget who's going to take over. But if Moyes goes, do you think that they would be... Do you think they'd have a chance of staying up if Moyes goes? Or do you think they'll be okay even if Moyes stays? That's my kind of question. Because Lawless is always like, it's Moyes who's doing this, it's Moyes, it's no one else, all Moyes. If Moyes goes in, what happens? Are they going to just be okay? Because I'm not seeing enough for me. It's not just Moyes for me.
No, it's not. It's not just Moyes. It's not just Moyes. It's Moyes and the players. But I think I do think his setup is stifling West Ham. I really do. But I also think that some of their players just aren't playing to the level that he needs them to be playing at, man. I do think if they were to get rid of him, though, they would see an uptick. They would see an uptick in performances with the caliber of players that they have. But I also think that if he stays, he'll stay up by the skin of his teeth. I expect that this West Ham team will dig out some results between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, fair play, man.
I think teams that he said that are far worse than him. I think the appointment Leeds made with Javi Garcia is a terrible appointment. I don't think he keeps them up. I don't know if Southampton are going to keep that chap who's in charge at the moment on, so I'm not sure. But I do think West Ham will stay up, and I think if they were going to sack Moyes, they should have done it like we said in the
Yeah,
World Cup.
definitely.
They should have got it done. If I was West Ham, I said this last week, I would be sticking with till the end of the season. There's no point in changing now. You're not going to. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're that bad. And I think you go and absolutely break down Brentford's door for Thomas Frank. I think you pay the money, you pay the compensation, you get him in because it's Moyes' time. Moyes is done.
Good shot. Good shot.
That era of Premier League manager is finished now. I'm afraid it's done. It's done.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I actually I don't know if you two agree with this, and I'm not even bantering when I say this. I actually do think it's a reality check for some of these deluded West Ham fans that think they are actually a top 6 club that they're competing.
Oh, yeah.
They are.
Big fact.
They've never been that for me. Like, they had a couple of seasons where they flirted with Europe, and that's it. Like, Everton have done that. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's other teams that have done that. Newcastle, Everton, Villa. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they did it for a couple of years, and they went down to the Championship. West Ham have always, in my era, been a team that have been a bottom half club that flirt with the Championship, go up in the playoffs, and just never win anything. And then, like, Lawless and some of the others, they're just like, they seem to just try and shoehorn West Ham in these conversations all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just not the case for me. I'm not even bantering here, by the way. I'm 100% serious. Like, I don't know. I don't get it, man. It's bizarre. But lastly, before we wrap up, title race very quickly. Tobe, start with you, then go to Dan. Manchester City. I don't know what's going on, but I was very, very happy to see them drop points. Arsenal, very happy to see them get the luck of the 3 points, even though, to be fair, I thought we deserved it in the second half. But let's forget both them games. Let's just last question for you both.
2
questions for either of you. Are Man United in this title race? And who do you have as favourites for winning it? Like, be honest. Don't go with what you want to see happening.
Who should answer first? Me or Dan?
Go on then, Topes. Go
on. On points, I guess you'd have to say they are, but me personally, I don't think they are in the title race. And it's weird. Once I say what I say, I'm gonna get called a Man United hater. But then earlier on, I was being called a Liverpool hater for saying the obvious. But simple rationale here. I don't think Man United are in the title race because I don't think they've shown me that they're as good as Man City or Arsenal this season. Right? If that's the standard that you need to hit to be capable of winning the title, I don't think Man United have been as good as these two sides. So whilst the points difference doesn't really reflect it, when both these sides have played, right, there's been a clear gap in quality. Okay, granted, Man City didn't play the best and Man United did well at Old Trafford, but I feel like Man United have done really well to make Old Trafford a fortress this season. I feel like that's been a driving force behind their uptick in form. But generally speaking, I don't expect Man United to finish in the top 2 this season. I don't, because I think when it comes down to it, I back Man City to outperform Man United, and I back Arsenal based off this season to outperform Man United. So for me, they're not in the title race.
And then for you, Arsenal or City at the moment, who are you fancying?
City.
Okay, we'll just leave it there. Dan.
I was going to say Arsenal.
You can't do it, man. You cannot say it.
Like I said before, mate, I'd love to say that we're in a title race. I just think we've gone quietly under the radar. The past few weeks, I've said it. I've said it to anyone that will listen. I'm going to disagree with Tobes on one thing, though. I think United could finish second. I think we could get to second. I still think Arsenal have got a lot of crazy games to come yet. Still, City have got a lot of teams to play at home at the rest at the top 6. United are playing without any fear at the moment. That's the thing. And I know Tobes alluded to us getting absolutely battered at Leeds and then coming up with a 2-0 win. United didn't do that last season, the season before that. We got absolutely spanked. So look, if we finish second after the season we've had with Ronaldo, the season we've had with the Greenwood situation, the takeover situation, having Weghorst up top and Luke Shaw at left centre-back, I'm going to say, honestly, I'll hire a fucking bus myself and I'll drive it around Manchester. I'm chuffed to bits with it. With regards to who I think will win the league, I still think City will do it. Just based on the fixtures that are coming up. That game at City between you two, that is the game of the season. That's going to be the result. That's going to be the one that says who's going on to win the title. Because look, as we've seen last week, City can drop points against Nottingham Forest, but City have got it in their locker. You guys are still learning what it takes. So Arteta's still learning what it takes to be in that title race, to continue that title race and push on. This is the novice against the master, isn't it? So we'll see what
100.
happens.
It is, and I think the novice against the master showed at the Emirates. I was obviously on holiday, but I saw bits of the game, and for me, it was like, listen, we've been in here and done this before. We're going to win this game. You're not winning it, and they did that in the second half. They absolutely obliterated us, and that worried me. But then when they go and drop points at City, I'm like, sorry, at Forest, sorry, at the City ground, I'm like, really? Like, wow, this has gone all the way back. And I've come back from Sri Lanka and the Maldives being told that we've crumbled, and we're still sitting top of the league. And I'm like, I thought we were crumbling. What's going on? Like, this is a mad season, boys. Absolutely mental. And like, I look at it.
That was a big result for you lot as well. Big win.
Yeah, huge win, man. Huge win. And we've got Leicester away, difficult. Because actually, Dan, I don't think you disagree with this. The first few minutes of that game, I was like, Leicester should be 2 or 3 up. This is mad. Good sides, playing good football. I think our next 6 games are very winnable. Not saying we're going to win them all, but they are winnable.
Nah, you got to go on a run. Sorry,
you've got to go on a run now. You know, 6 games there. We got to win them all. We got to get 18 points. We got Fulham away, which is difficult. Leicester away. The rest of them are at home against Bournemouth, Palace, Leeds, and Everton. That is a really good run of 6 games. So I understand what Dan's saying. Arsenal got tough fixtures. We haven't in the next 6. We have got them coming up, but we haven't in the next 6. So for me, mate, that's where I see it. If these 3 teams keep all their players fit to the end of the season, I do fancy us, but I don't think we will. Because Partey and Jesus are so important. We're doing well at the moment to just get through some of these games, like against Villa, but we had a big drop off without Partey. And Jesus, I'm sorry, I love Eddie of what he's done, but Eddie, we need Jesus back now. We need Jesus back now. It's crazy. So let's see what happens, man. Boys, absolute pleasure as always. Legends having you on. I know it was a crazy one tonight with people dropping in and out, and a few people had to drop off last minute. But thank you lot so much. Absolute legends for jumping on. Thank you for watching in the chat. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Please get us on the way to 8K. Come and follow myself on socials. Come and follow at Football One and support what Dan's doing. And come and follow Tap in Tobes. Thank you to Pete and Errol for jumping on earlier. We'll see you next week. And until then, up the Arsenal. Peace.